And hello everyone, and welcome to today's flight and Twitch stream, where we are flying from Fairbanks, Alaska to Juneau, Alaska with the McDonnell Douglas MD-83 on the VATSIM network with 120 passengers. Our cruise altitude today is 35,000 feet with expected flight time of 1 hour 49 minutes. We're currently at gate 4 in Fairbanks. We haven't really done much, actually. The only thing we've done thus far is basically turn on our batteries, and that's about it. Batteries and ground, sorry. We have also started our ground services, so our GPU is connected, and that's about all we've done. So we're going to start getting set up for our flight. For today's flight, we are departing runway 02 left on the red flag to departure. Current weather at Fairbanks, winds are 033, magnetic at 7 knots, visibility 10 plus stat miles. There's a few clouds at 1000, temperature 7, dew point is 3, and the altimeter is 2968. Okay, so starting off, first thing we're going to do is we're just going to go over on top and make sure that everything, yaw dampers are on, gallery power's on, we are running on GPU. All fuel tanks are connected. Emergency lights armed, seatbelt signs are on. We're going to go ahead and put our pitot heat or pitot heat to captain. Also make sure our anti-fog and windshield ice is on. Landing altitude, let's just go have a quick look in Juneau what our landing altitude is. Yeah, big 20 feet, so we'll just leave that as is. And that all looks good. Okay, we'll set our nav lights on. Also going to turn on our hydraulic pumps, etc. Okay, pneumatic cross feeds are on. Alright, that looks good. There's currently no ATC online, therefore we are going to set our cruise altitude right away to 35,000 feet, flight level 350. As there's no ATC, we'll be announcing our intentions via text on 122.8. And runway heading, let's just put that in 016. And we'll set our map. Alright, and I think that just about does it for that. Let's go ahead and get catering services on its way. And we'll also request boarding at the same time. And we'll continue to set up for our flight. Alright, so we're flying out of Fairbanks, which is Papa, Alpha, Foxtrot, Alpha. going to Juneau, which is Papa Alpha Juliet November. And that loads our route. We'll be parting runway 02 left. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and set our star right away. Our SID, sorry, it's our red flag 2 departure via red flag 2 transition. And because I'm a lazy pilot and I do not expect the weather to change, we're gonna also enter in our approach for Juneau. And we will be flying the RNAV Victor approach for runway 08. So RNAV Victor. VSSR, execute. Okay, that looks good. So let's go ahead and put our performance. Our cruise is 35,000 feet. Fuel for today's flight is 19,372 pounds. So we'll just do 19.3/A. Zero fuel weight 109,817. That checks 129.1 for our gross. That's good enough. Reserves for today's flight are 5,100 pounds. I generally use a cost index of 50. Some pilots use 20, some use 80. I find 50 is a good balance between fuel economy and performance. Okay, so that's done. Take off. So we have our EPR, which we'll need. Okay, it'll be flaps 11 departure. So, and it is dry, so 137, 143, and 151. Alright, so everything looks good in our flight plan. Excellent. Okay, so we're set for takeoff mode. Next thing, our CG is 16.3, flaps 11, so we need to adjust our trim. Get ready for a lot of noise. There you go, stabilizer trim set. Okay, and catering wants us to close the doors. Okay, so now we're just waiting. We're pretty much set up for our flight. We're ready to go. These messages will obviously clear once we start the aircraft, etc. Set our auto brake to take off, and we'll arm it. Okay, so boarding's in process. Sorry, just a bit of a sneeze there. We can go ahead and start our APU. Fuel pump, start pump on for APU. Anti-collision on. I can hear the APU starting in the background. Okay, APU is available, so we're going to go ahead and disconnect ground power.
Cleared to disconnect. Thanks.
Just put on some air for now. We'll be shutting these off shortly when we start engines. Alright, where's our baggage? Ah, there they are. Okay, well that's been done, and we'll go through some of the technical aspects for today's flight. The aircraft we're flying is the Fly the Mad Dog X. Highly recommended for those that are looking for something a little different from a Boeing or an Airbus. It is a study level aircraft, but overall, if you're familiar with flying Boeing aircrafts, yeah, it's a little bit different, a little bit more old school, but certainly one of my favorites. Fairbanks scenery is by Aerosoft, and the Juneau airport is by Orbex FTX. It's one of their add-on airports. There is a base version, I believe, that comes with I think it's part of the Freeware North America pack, but I actually have the add-on airport for Juneau itself. And the ground vehicles, etc., is FS Dream Team GSX Ground Services. Also a fun little add-on. Absolutely not necessary. I just find it adds a little bit of realism. It is a little flaky. Certain aircraft, the air stairs and that don't line up and that. I'm actually due for a complete new reinstall of it. I find the updates they push sometimes tend to mess things up a little bit there, but with this aircraft overall, it works pretty well. So we can actually close our doors because passengers are loaded. Just have to wait for baggage to finish. Okay, we'll be pushing back tail to the left. Get rid of the air stair, the jetway. Alright, so let's close the rest of our doors and get ready for pushback. Okay, this needs to be off.
Locking gear. Departure check completed. Flight assistant inserted. Release parking brake. Commencing push. All engines clear. Start that wheel.
Alright, so let's go ahead and start engine 1. Another note I should make also is the sound set I'm using is not the sound set that came with the aircraft. I'm actually using a different sound set. It's a TSS MD-83 sound set. I just found the fly the Mad Dog X sound set wasn't quite loud enough there. The exterior of this aircraft is actually quite noisy, so I opted to go with the add-on sound set. Alright, so we got 2 engines running. So at this time we're going to go ahead and turn off our APU as we don't need it anymore. So APU is off. We can also switch these to off now. And it's back on. This will go out in a minute. Just APU needs to power down. Okay, well that's being done, let's go ahead and set our flaps to flaps 11, which is our takeoff. Okay, we are at flaps 11, good.
Unlocking gear.
Okay, speed brakes armed.
Flight nose main removed.
Taxi lights. Okay, just waiting for GSX. It'll say have a good flight, then we can release brakes. You do it before that, it tends to scream at you a little bit. There we go. Okay, we've got no warnings, so that's a good sign. Okay, and this is an RNAV departure, so as soon as we're airborne, we will be arming the autopilot so that the aircraft will follow the SID. Okay, my speed bugs are set. Okay, one thing I should have done before was squawk Charlie. Strobes on, landing lights on.
Takeoff thrust set. Knots cross check. V1. Rotate.
Okay, gear up.
Gear up, lights out. Clamp. Climb thrust set.
Okay, flaps are up.
Flap 0.
Okay, so we need to go and intercept the first point. So let's go do that. And we got a master caution, that's normal. That's because our center fuel tanks are now empty. So just go turn off those pumps and that'll clear the warning. And now we want to get on an intercept for heading 134 should do it. I just put 140, let's try nav again. Okay, crossing 10,000 feet, landing lights off.
Stabilizer motion.
And there we go, we've got nav capture.
Land over speed.
Yeah, that was me.
Land over speed. Land over speed. Land over speed. Land over speed. Land over speed.
Once in a while my throttle sticks there and we're back in business. So we're in VNAV climb, we're tracking. We're in good shape. And I always like to adjust my view when climbing so I can actually see out the front window. So in essence, I'm just raising my seat. There we go. Alright, everything looks hunky-dory here. Okay, we're coming up on transition. Reset our altimeter to 902. looks like Canadian Express 322 has joined us. Morning to you as well. Okay, climbing through flight level 240 for 350. We're climbing right now at 1,400 feet per minute. See, this is why we pay all this money for add-on scenery, so we can have clouds and we can't see squat. I actually don't have voice set up on Twitch to hear it because I have it muted because I'm running it on a second PC. I basically have one PC that has all just my flight sim. Everything else I'm running on another machine, including my weather engine, which is Active Sky, Flight Bag, vPilot, my ACARS, Twitch. Everything else is running on a secondary machine. And I don't have a microphone on that machine right now there because I'm basically using a mic, a boom mic that I have set up on my flight sim PC, which enables me to talk on Twitch, but also at the same time, if there's ATC online, I can speak to them. One of these days I'd like to find a way to have one mic that I can use on both machines there. I know there's a way to do it, I just haven't had the time to actually go about doing it. But that would be really cool. And just have different push-to-talk buttons depending. Yeah, it's a pretty good video. It should help you get set up. Alright, slowly climbing through flight level 290 for 350, varying between 12 and 1500, 1600 feet per minute with the winds. Right now we've got a headwind on the starboard side of 32 knots. 38 knots. And I just want to have a look here. I'm going to be playing with the speeds there. Coming into Juneau there, crossing SSR at 240 is not going to work. It's actually going to be 200 at 8,000 feet. And here we're going to be, that's Juneau. Let me just check. I'm sure some of you have already flown into Juneau. It's a tricky approach. So an ML34, that's fine, but I'm gonna want to be at about 180 there. And also with this aircraft has a horrible tendency not to slow down there, so it's something I always take into consideration. So normally in a lot of aircrafts you don't have to play with this. I find I do. And then, oh man, I want to be at 170. And we can cross that at 3,400 feet, no problem. We're 6 miles from the field, so we're gonna want to be at about 150. And go ahead and set that at 2,700 as well. That's one airport you don't want. This aircraft, they don't call it the Mad Dog for nothing. On a descent, it's fast, and yeah, it does have a VNAV, but it's known, and this is rear world applies also, it's not the greatest aircraft to follow the VNAV profile. If you're supposed to cross an X waypoint at, let's say, 10,000 feet, it's very possible you're going to be a couple thousand feet above. In the videos I've looked at, they tend to play with the VS and the speed to compensate. Or the other alternative is to go ahead and add some dummy waypoints, or what I've done in this case is I just play with the speeds and the altitude constraints, which gives me a little bit more leeway. But it's the Mad Dog, and that's the way the aircraft is. It's cool. And a lot of times I'll just turn off the autopilot, 10, 12 miles out, and as long as I can see the field, I'll just fly it in manually. Which is the fun part anyways. This aircraft apparently has an auto land. I've never used it. I probably won't. There is an auto land button. I just find it takes the fun out of it. Okay, 1,500 feet to go. And the other thing to watch for is when you're climbing. I haven't had it happen to me yet, but I've seen others where it'll blast through your cruise altitude and you actually have to adjust it to go back down. Generally speaking, it will hold altitude at 35,000 feet or flight level 350, but I've seen, and apparently it does happen, where it'll blow right through it. Okay, while I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and set the decision height right away for Juneau, which is 500 feet. Okay, and we're going to cruise mode. And there we go, level at flight level 350. Our ground speed is currently 410 knots. We've got a headwind on the starboard side of 34 knots. Our top of descent is at about 340 nautical miles, roughly 45-50 minutes. And it looks like the break, so we might actually see some nice scenery. I do have the Orbex Land Class, Vector, Global, all that, and I also do have the Alaska Region, so hopefully there'll be something to see. Not too bad. And since our stewardesses really suck at Canadian Express, the captain's going to step away and get himself a coffee, and I'll be back in 2-3 minutes. Okay, and I'm back. Another thing here, often you'll see a VOR fail. It's because I'm not tracking really any VORs, but if I wanted to example, I'm pretty close to the Northway VOR, which is 116.3. So if I were to put that in, there we go. No more warnings. And we're roughly now 300 nautical miles, 45 minutes till our topic descent at current speed. We'll be descending into Juneau for the RNAV Victor approach for runway 08 right. I just want to see what the latest weather is there. Okay, winds are 081 magnetic at 13 knots, visibility 5 statute miles, few clouds at 500, broken 5,000, overcast 9,000, temperature 9, dew point 8, there's light rain, and the altimeter is 2985. So it's a challenging approach, and it looks like we're going to have some weather also going in, so could be interesting. Okay, just crossing the Northway VOR. And we're continuing on Jetway 502. actually, I'm just looking at NAVTRA Victor, and 8,000 is not going to work here. I'm going to be way too high, so let's go 5,000. Whoops. We're over water, so there's no risk of collision or anything like that. So let's do 200 slash 5,000. Because we're only 7 miles, so at 8,000 or 3,400, it ain't gonna like that. I'm actually a little surprised. We're heading eastbound. Normally you have a tailwind, but we're still experiencing a headwind of 32 knots on the starboard side. Our ground speed's currently only 400 knots, and we're at Mach 76. And I never did, there we go, my speed brakes were still armed, and probably I never put my auto brake to off either. Nope, there you go. Okay, we're just coming up on the halfway mark of our flight. Cruising flight level 350, ground speed is 400 knots. Top of descent in about 250 nautical miles, roughly 30 minutes or so. Let's see if there's anything on our FMC yet. No, not yet. No, we'll get a TOD that'll appear here as we get closer. I believe with this aircraft, it's when you're around the 200 nautical mile mark from top of descent, it will display in the FMC. It's a lot like a Boeing FMC. McDonnell Douglas was bought by Boeing, so that kind of makes sense. But it's pretty close to Boeing. There's a couple little differences, but nothing major. It's the rest of the aircraft. It's a lot more old school. You know, as far as hydraulics, APU, stabilizer trim, all that stuff is all manual. You have to do it yourself, which kind of makes, you know, this aircraft so fun. And I'm just going to set my heading to match my current go. Good practice is always to do that. Sometimes I forget, but when I remember, I always have set my heading in case, you know, autopilot or VNav goes to crap or something. Well, I can just select a heading select, and you know, at least I'll remain on course without doing all these loops or anything like that. I'm just kind of preparing a bit, looking at my landing data, what it's going to be based on my what my gross weight's going to be for landing. We're got a bit of time. And there we go, we now have our top of descent, 183 nautical miles. So we're going to wait another 80 nautical miles or so, and then we'll start preparing the aircraft for our descent into Juneau. Now, one feature this aircraft has that I haven't tried, but I'm going to have to try one of these days, is you can have a shared cockpit, which would be really cool because it's an aircraft that keeps you very busy on descent and that. And to have a co-pilot and a captain where, you know, each one has their duties, and that would be really cool. I'm not sure how it works with VATSIM and that there, but it's one of the things that one of these days I want to look at. It'd be really cool. Now you can go through all the checklists, and you know, now I follow it pretty close, but that's not to say you know, there's certain things you're supposed to do during flight. You know, your hydraulic pumps and that normally they're turned off, and that. And there's certain other things that you know you can turn off that I don't, just simply because when you're on approach and final, you're really busy flying the aircraft. Like I said, VNAV. It's it doesn't really follow it, just like real world and that, so you're real busy. The other little thing about this aircraft that I find is kind of interesting, let's go to throttles, there you go, is the auto brake. Normally, you know, you set your auto brake, you arm it. With this aircraft, you cannot arm it until your gear is down and that your flaps are you know, in the landing position, you know, 28 or 40. It won't let you arm it till then. So you know, an additional step where, you know, you're flying the aircraft manually and you got to quickly come down and arm it. So having a co-pilot would be kind of cool. Okay, 133 nautical miles from top of descent. And our gross weight is going down considerably. And the other thing that you're going to use a lot with this aircraft, and you'll probably see it when I'm on approach, is the gear horn off. I'm using it quite a bit. Anytime this aircraft, let's say you have your speed set at 250 knots and you're over that, you're going to get a landing gear until, you know, your speed slows down. And it gets to be very annoying. So gear horn off becomes one of your best friends. You'll be using it a lot. It only lasts for like 30-45 seconds, and then, you know, it starts again, so you'll be pressing it quite often. Okay, so we've set our decision height to 500 feet. We are going to go ahead and set our auto brake right away. And we'll be using medium on this, it should be fine. And it's not on until you arm it, of course. And we're 192 nautical miles, so we're going to start getting ready for our descent into Juneau. Let's take a look, see if the weather's changed at all. Current weather, winds are 081 magnetic at 13 knots, visibility 5 statute miles, few clouds 900, broken 5,000, overcast 9,000. Temperature 9, dew point 8, there's some light rain, and the altimeter is 2985. So our initial descent altitude will be to 10,000 feet. And we will be using a flaps 40 126. Which is our VREP. And our speed charts. So with this aircraft, to set your speed bugs, just basically click on the bottom part. For takeoff, it's the top part, and for landing, just click the bottom part. It'll set your speed bugs for you. Slow slats at 220 knots about. Flaps 11, 15, 28, and then of course 40 is on your VREF. Okay, Xpress v4.2. He's all set up on Twitch. Yeah, I'll take a look. Yeah, it looks like you're all set up. I see everything, it looks good. Okay, 99 nautical miles from top of descent. Well, I might do one final adjustment of our V speeds there as we get closer, but as our gross weight's going to lower a bit there, but it shouldn't be major. It won't be substantial. Okay, runway length at Juneau is 8,500 feet, elevation 20 feet. And we're currently miles west of Yellowknife Airport, or the Yellowknife VOR. And we're just going to dial in the SSR VOR. It's 114.0. Okay, 83 nautical miles from top of descent, and we should have the top of descent appearing around the 78-80 nautical mile mark. It should show up in our display. Let's see here, Mikey 1212, is that the Mad Dog? Yeah, it's the Fly the Mad Dog X. And there we go, we got our top of descent just appearing. Okay, 49 nautical miles from our top of descent. Flaps 1. And let's just see here, 121, that looks good. So let's just update our speed bugs. Yeah, it looks about right. There you see it's getting all hazy up ahead, so that's what we're going into, which would explain the 5-mile visibility in Juneau. You notice I have a weather radar off. That's simply, it's one of the other little quirks about this aircraft. It's not very good. A lot of stuff doesn't show up on it. I think it's one of the things that they still need to improve. I'll turn it on anyways, but it's not that good. I find that a lot of times the weather radar, it freezes. You know, you start seeing clouds and it just freezes. It doesn't show up well. You know, you'll click on the display and it'll show up here, but in the VC it's kind of like frozen in that. I don't know, it needs some work. But you know, as I have Active Sky, I have the weather map and it's running on a secondary PC. I can just reference that if need be. Okay, we're now 16 nautical miles from top of descent. Just take another quick look at the weather in Juneau, see if there's been any changes. It doesn't look like it. Winds are still 081 magnetic at 11 knots. Visibilities, oh no, it has changed. 6 statute miles. There's a few clouds at 800, broken 5,000, overcast 8,500. Temperature 9, dew point 8. There's light rain. The altimeter is now at 29 or 85. So clouds have improved a little bit, and visibility is increased by 1 statute mile. So. But we still have showers, etc. So. Okay, it doesn't look like there's any ATC online for Juneau, so we will be announcing our intentions via text on Unicom on 123.8, just in case there's any other traffic in the area. They'll be aware of our intentions. Okay, engines are spooling down, getting our descent from flight level 350 to 10,000, our initial descent altitude. For the RNAV Victor runway 08 approach in Juneau. Another nice thing I love about this aircraft is you can just use your scroll mouse to change the zoom level on your display. I find that's very well thought out by the guys at Mad Dog X. Smart. Okay, we're on VNAV descent. There we go, and we're at FMS idle, so our engines are at idle, and descending at minus 2,400 feet per minute. to start descending into some clouds, so we expect maybe a little bit of turbulence. We're going to go ahead and put our seatbelt signs on. Okay, altimeter was 2985. So crossing flight level 180, reset our altimeter 2985. Set our altitude 5,000. We want to cross SSR at 5,000 feet. Now see, I should be picking up something on the weather radar here. Now either I don't have it set right, which is also a possibility. I haven't really read up on it. I don't know. Anyways, we're not going to worry about it for now. Okay, coming up on transition, resetting altimeter 2985. Okay, coming on. Now we're in the okay, landing lights are on. Slowing down. Deploying speed brakes, slow down a bit. There we go. Okay, we've got rain. So wipers are on. Because one thing I found with this aircraft, if you don't, a lot of aircrafts you don't need to use the wipers, but if you don't, visibility is a craps. You don't get to see much, but I'll leave it off for now, but I'll probably have to turn them back on. No, we are getting some stuff on the weather radar. I'll see. It doesn't display here, but it does there. It's, oh, there it is. It's a little flaky. Okay, final approach course 067. And extending the slats.
Slats extended.
RDOR, turning.
Landing gear. Stabilizing motion. Landing gear. Landing gear.
Okay, wiper time.
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear.
Okay, flaps 11.
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear.
Okay, see, here's a problem. It's climbing, it should be descent. So I put in vertical speed.
Landing gear. Speed brake. Landing gear. Landing brake.
Yeah, it's giving me a caution for the speed brake. That's normal. Because I have deployed my speed brakes to slow down.
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear.
Okay, so we've taken over the aircraft basically as far as the speed and the descent rate, because it was climbing instead of descending. We're still using the nav, and that will be shut off shortly. Okay, base turn. Okay, gear down.
Gear down, 3 green. Flaps 28. Flaps 40.
Okay, we are going to disable the autopilot and as well as the auto throttle. We're going to bring her in manually.
Autopilot. Autopilot.
Yeah.
Sync rate. Sync rate. Sync rate. Sync rate.
Okay, we're looking for the beacons. And there we are, we have them. Okay, we're a little high, we should be around 800 feet, but it's no big deal. I compare this airport to KTAC a little bit. Not quite a sharp turn, but very similar.
Minimums. Terrain. Terrain. Sync rate. Sync rate. Sync rate. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Oops, didn't want to do that. Okay, I don't think we need the wipers anymore. Start our APU. Landing lights off. Auto brake off. And strobes off. Okay, we'll be parking at gate 2. Okay, and once we're at the gate, send in my flight log, and we'll do an instant replay from the outside, see what that looked like. Tabuka used tower view simply because no stutters or anything. Find spot views in that. It's flaky. Touchdown rate was minus 165 feet per minute. Alright, so we're back at the gate. First thing we'll do, let's just connect some ground power.
Please. Stand by.
Landing lights off.
GPU connected.
Okay, so we are now on ground power, so let's just shut off our APU, save some fuel. Open her up. Well, that concludes this flight as well as this Twitch stream. Thanks for watching, and blue skies.